Welcome friends, welcome to this video, welcome to my channel. My name is Anthony and I welcome you all here. Thank you for being here. I'm a channeler of 6.99 density Alpha Draconis, race named KALASK, and I've asked them to speak about something that's very sensitive, that's very shy when it comes to humans, that there's awkwardness and reservations and resistances, and that is human sexuality. I've asked them to share with us whatever they wish to say in relation to human sexuality, masturbation, when it comes to even homosexuality or bisexuality, whatever they wish to really tell us so that we can benefit from and kind of learn their own perspective. It's always good to hear other people's and other beings or other consciousnesses, what they wish to tell us about our own human life. And now I will bring in the consciousness of KALASK, and I will see you in just a few minutes. We are KALASK. We will speak now. Yes, we'll speak on the sexuality aspect. Sex, sexuality, masturbation, all these things that human beings are so shy about. The shyness, the reservation, the two things that create so many different resistances within yourself. Yes, the two things that are important to touch on, we will later on, but the juice of the information let's speak on now. Why are human beings so reserved and shy when it comes to their own sexuality? What is it about sex that makes you so shy? Human race in general is extremely shy when it comes to sex and sexual activities, sexual escapades, expressing your own energy and excitements and joy and a desire and passion through sexual activity. From our own observation of human beings, of course, way before you were even born, we've seen sexuality evolve. Even extraterrestrials that were of your own density, even us, when we were in our own earlier density stages, we viewed sexuality much more frequent than we do now. It was much more violent, much more rough than it is today. Even though sex among reptilian ranks, draconian ranks, still for a human mind and for a human experience, it is very rough, extremely rough, very dominant, extremely violent. Imagine you are having sex activity with someone that is 3, 4, 5 times your weight, someone that can be 2 or 3 times your height, someone that has different genetics as you, it's much more aggressive than you do, much more stronger than you do. Of course, the sexual activity will be different. Most of the time, the reason why extraterrestrials don't wish to have sexual activity with humans is not because they will harm you, no. It is because you will be emotionally destroyed after they leave. The experience will evoke so many feelings and emotions of unconditional love. So many aspects of your own subconscious and unconscious layer would be opened up. The feelings, the emotions will be overwhelming. You wouldn't be able to handle it. It would destroy your sanity. You would never be interested in your boyfriends, girlfriends, wives, engagements, weddings, dating, romantic dates, making love, or romantic gestures to one another. In fact, you'd never be interested even going on a simple date with someone. You would constantly be thinking about that sexual activity with an extraterrestrial. The extraterrestrials that have sexual contacts with human beings mainly and for the most part happen in higher dimensional states without you knowing. Sometimes you think it's another human, it's an extraterrestrial. Not for the purposes of sexual assaults, it's simply for the purposes of co-creating energies. This is someone within your own soul family. If we, as Alpha Draconians, had sex with you, this would not be recommended. On some cases we've done this, but it is because it's a mutual co-creation with the free will of the human. Physically, we wouldn't be able to do this to you. We're much larger, significantly more powerful and stronger. Even the length of our penises can range as length of your own arms. So this is something to get off of your head and out of your heads, even though some human beings, they see large pictures of reptilians, large pictures of draconian beings, dragons even, they see power, they're infatuated with it. The sexual energy is there, the sexual attraction is always there, but this is something you shouldn't focus on. It is a good thing you can see pictures of reptilians and draconian beings as something to become, something to grow to be, yes, as inspiration. not in a sexual way. Human beings are extremely shy when it comes to their own sexuality. Human beings are extremely shy. This is no judgment, this is a simple observation. Sexuality, unfortunately, for a majority of the human beings, think it's just to have quick sex, quick ease, one night stands, or 2 times or 3 times at the most, or having sexual activity with your own partner that lasts 4 minutes, 5 minutes, and the moment the ejaculation occurs within that male, the sexual escape is over, leaving the female unsatisfied on an emotional level and on a mental level. Climaxing is important. Orgasmic energy is extremely important and powerful. This on its own can be talked about in a completely different segment. It's a large topic. What is orgasmic energy? How can it be compared to? This is something we'll talk much more in the future, particularly with females. Human beings, when it comes to sexuality, describe it as your profanity words, as banging, fucking, all these things, but truly it is a combination of many things. It's a combination of emotions. It is a combination of your heart chakra. It is a combination of all of your lower chakras, including, and most importantly, of your own sacral. But it is a combination of the mental layer, emotional layer, and the feelings and the emotions that are evoked, created, manufactured when you put all these things together, along with the arousal itself. The sexual aspect of certain humans, when they say that celibacy is the most important thing to their lives because they discovered a better way. This is not true, nowhere near the truth. This is their own perspective. Often these things are just stated by these humans simply because they're wounded themselves, unhealed, lonely, broken, heartbroken, left by their partners who left them for someone else, someone more attractive, someone less fat, and all these other things, physicality aspect of human beings. To not explore your sexuality as human beings who are extremely sexual creatures is like saying draconian beings shouldn't explore their military, as we're a military collective. Sexuality is very important for human beings to explore, but to understand the energy behind it. Anything that has to do with human sex and anything that has to do with human sexuality, there's an energy behind it. So let's break some most important things. The energy behind masturbation of a male. Is this the same thing as the energy of masturbation by a female? These are 2 different energies. Every human being, every male has both feminine and masculine. Of course, it's much more evident in most cases that it is the masculine that sits or stands in the front. Every female has masculine and also feminine, but in most female cases, it is the feminine that shows, but both have the same. They're not equal. One generally is larger than the other. Some human beings, their male, have extremely strong masculine energy. Masturbation for human males is a large important factor. Why are all human beings so shy and reserved when it comes to masturbation? This is part of your lives. It's what you do. It's normal. Why would you deprive yourself of your own body? Why would you create a resistance of not getting to know your body? Why do you have a resistance of shyness when it comes to being naked? When it comes to touching yourself, pleasing yourself, arousing yourself? You truly are getting to know yourself. You're exploring yourself, discovering yourself. This is a good thing. It is those religious or society statements that sex is something that's bad, that only should be done in a marriage, that only should be done for reproductive reasons, and etc. Those are the things that are blocking you from fully exploring your own sexuality. Let's determine certain aspects of masturbation. And first, we'll start with males. Males have penises who are circumcised and the other ones that are not circumcised, meaning the foreskin's been removed. Is the orgasm behind both of these masturbations the same? No. The energy behind an orgasm in all males who are circumcised due to masturbation is different than a male who masturbates who is non-circumcised. Those are 2 different energies. Yes, with circumcision, certain level of energy and a certain level of disconnection is removed at that point, at that sensitive area of the tip of the penis. With females, is it the same thing when a female creates her own orgasm due to masturbation of the upper area of the vaginal area of the clitoris versus inserting either a penis or a sex item within her own vagina? to receive an orgasm. Climax, yes? These are two different energies. If a human male inserted the penis inside of the female, many females are under the impression that if this occurs, then that female is taking on all of the parasitic attachments, all of the deceased humans, all of the parasites and entities attached to this human, including the male's trauma from either the past lives that he's carried or that he's obtained within this life. Is this true? Of course this isn't true. Is it true that the energy loss occurs? Yes. Yes, of course it does. When a human male ejaculates with a woman during sexual experience, or with a male, regardless of your sexual preferences, yes, an energy loss occurs. Of course it does. Most humans will just continue with the process of calming down their energy, affection, kissing, speaking about their future plans, or speaking about the sexual activity that just occurred, ignoring the aspect of loss of energy. So it's extremely important that the loss of energy is now reversed. Question is, do you know how to reverse it? Do you know how to bring back the energy you've just lost during your own sexual activity? Do you know how to bring back the energy after your own masturbation? Whether you're a male or a female, it's irrelevant. Sexuality is a very touchy subject with human beings. It is something that human beings are extremely shy of. Now, we don't judge you on any matter. Human beings judge alpha draconians much more than we judge you. We're here to help you. We channel through Anthony to help you. We issued him a channeling contract to reach as many humans as possible, to talk about anything he desires, but also for him to channel about anything that we desire. And of course, through the monitoring of his own, through his own life, and even the time of monitoring before we permitted him to channel us. We've obtained much information about his own sexuality, but of course, due to privacy, we'll never share these things. This is his life, but of course, as a heterosexual himself, we've obtained information how sexual activity is conducted with partners of his own from his own past. What is it that these partners wanted? What did he want? So we understand human beings. We understand human sexuality needs, fetishes. And humans are just shy about it. Every human has a fetish that they don't want to talk about. Sometimes these fetishes are explored if you have the trust level with your partner. Most of the time, even when it comes to cheating or infidelities, these things humans call cheating each other, they'll do it because they'll find a partner that's able to satisfy their true needs, their true desires, their true fetishes that their partner at home would not do. This is most of the time why it happens. Cheating just doesn't occur by accident. Sexuality isn't something that should be very shy about. No human should be shy about it. When you start dissecting all aspects of sexuality, you will start to understand that there's an energy behind it. Is it true that trauma, sexual trauma, can be carried from past lives into your present life? Regardless of how think that you are so godlike mode, source-like mode, so enlightened, so 5D trained, etc. All humans carry trauma. You know the term of epigenetics, yes. But you science and these scientists haven't figured out that epigenetics is a much deeper terminology. Something we'll talk about in the future. True aspects of human multidimensional DNA. The trauma can be carried. The trauma is carried. Trauma is always carried. Even when you see a human in some countries within your own world, they come from the best term, primitive, non-developed, non-intelligent, even dumb mindsets of certain human beings, meaning the culture that they come from is not an intelligent culture where it is okay for them to have sexual activity with animals. Is this okay for your own modern societies? Of course it isn't. Even will say it isn't. This is not normal. For certain beings it is. Now why do this bestiality occurs? Is it an accident that a human came across sheep or a dog or a cow or something? No, it is not an accident. This only has to do with one thing that is truly divided in two aspects. First aspect, mental illness. Second aspect, trauma that is carried from past lives or that trauma was sexual trauma. There are certain human beings that have tendencies to have sexual activity with their partners, mainly males who wish to have tendencies to have this violent, rape-like type of sexual activity with their partners, whether they're male or female. The tendencies are there. This is something that humans can heal, something humans can identify, work on. Wanting to have such violent sex is never a good thing. There's a time and place for everything. We understand violent sex. We understand very rough sex. Draconian beings, reptilian beings. All ranks of reptilian and draconian, for the most part, have extremely strong sex, very dominant, violent sex, yes. This isn't something human beings could be able to even visually perceive. It would be disturbing to see, but this truly is our society. Something else that Anthony needed to learn himself through getting to know our race as being accepted into the KALASK's race is he needed to see what and how we conduct ourselves in a sexual way. And yes, us within our society, we have sexual activity freely with each other. There is no shyness, there is no judgment. Your planet has this judgment. Your planet has this discrimination of calling someone bad because they have sex with someone that you don't approve of. How many times within your own society you see two homosexuals and you call them the worst names possible, but you don't want to be judged? Imagine those homosexuals called you a fat whale because you're obese, obese or overweight. You wouldn't like that simple comment. Imagine they make fun of your sexuality. Human beings are so divided with terms, so divided with name calling. You're not united as you should be. You're not united like you used to be in your ancient time. When you were so strong, now you're not so strong. You find every little reason to be divided, to judge, to discriminate, to segregate, to divide, instead of to unite. Sexual activity between male members of reptilian ranks, draconian ranks, is perfectly normal. Perfectly normal part of our society. This is how we express appreciation towards one another. Any member of our race, any member of draconian races is free to have sexual activity with either males or females. It is their free will that matters. It is not the judgment that matters, it's their free will that matters. The sexuality of human beings is something that must be looked at from an emotional level, from a mental level, from a level of connecting, from utilizing all of your chakras. When it comes to penises, vaginas, and orgasms, your entire body comes into the play. Your entire body vibrates, it echoes, it sends a very large signal throughout the entirety of your system, internal system that is. It is not just some orgasm quickie. The reason why women are not so connected to their male partners is because they realize that the emotional aspect, the mental aspect isn't there anymore. And most men, males, forget this aspect in their own relationship. Yes, it's fun to have quick sex, animalistic sex. This is one of the ways to activate your own reptilianness within you. Animalistic sex, rough sex, this is fine, this is normal. But you're a human being, you're not a reptilian. So don't ignore the mental and the emotional aspect of things. There are some females that have menopause problems. There are some females that cannot obtain an orgasm. And both of these concepts, of course, carry different energies. There are some males that also cannot achieve an orgasm. There are some males that achieve, what is this word? Impotency. They lose the hardness of their penis. They cannot hold the hardness of their penis, so they lose the hardness. This becomes extremely embarrassing for that male. And what happens at that time? The energy of that embarrassment turns into a resistance, turns into a large problem, a pocket of problems, a pocket of energy that must be healed, released, let go, and disconnected. Men should be much more in tune with their sexuality. There's different advice, of course, but why would you take advice from alpha draconians? We simply are pointing out some things that we notice, but informing you as well about things that are within our own society that are so normal, that are not that normal within your own society. Homosexuality is not something normal within your society. Bisexuality is not something normal within your society. Even human beings, males that are transitioning into females, there's an entire energy behind that. A lot of that has to do on an energetic level from past lives, the trauma that they carry. Many human beings are just not accepted sexually. They see themselves as ugly. The society calls them not attractive, too ugly, or just too fat, or all of these derogatory terms. So what they do, they hide in their caves, they hide in their own shyness. They cover themselves with this blanket. They would desire to be alone. They would desire to just be by themselves because they're so afraid, so shy to go and interact with the community in case they get turned down again, in case they're called ugly again. So this creates trauma, this creates resistance. The entire point of human incarnation is, of course, to be extremely sexual beings, to reproduce, to learn things, to learn karmic lessons, to learn what trauma is, how to fix it, heal it, and release it. One of those things is not to be shy of your own sexuality. Religions is something that prevents sexuality before marriages. Who invented this rule? What makes them the manager of your lives? What makes any human a manager of your life to tell you who you should have sex with and who you should not have sex with? Release these humans from your life. They're trying to be your bosses, who take away your energy, who don't deserve to take it away from you, who tell you how you should live your lives, yes? Who tell you who you should sleep with, who it is okay to sleep with, who it is not okay to sleep with. Too many rules within your society, created by insane humans, tyrants in most cases, clowns who act tough and strong. Sexuality is one of the most greatest tools humans can use to connect with one another, to explore one another. Have you never had sex with someone that you have met randomly and many years pass and you still remember that human being? Not because the sexual activity was so wild and crazy and satisfying, even though it was, but it was because there was a soul connection there. And how you can connect through sexuality, eye gazing, simply not saying nothing, but just looking at each other. And this effect stays with you. It gets imprinted in your own energy. And you connect from time to time in the astral state and you feel great and you say, I want to meet this human again. And sometimes souls will arrange that you meet with another soul, that you can see what it is like to have true connection, what it is like to have true sexual connection, true sexual chemistry. One moment, water needed. And so remember these moments if you're lucky enough to have them. All sexualities should be a 50-50 equation. Both parties connection, both parties energy, both parties consent. Speaking of consent, we don't need to speak about worthless concepts that are even disgusting to us, human adults who rape babies and children. Even these things occur. Why does this happen? Yes, if you were to ask any average human being with any morals, they would say sociopath. Yes, this has to truly do with mental illnesses and traumas that they have brought forward from their own past lives. Serious problems, and in some cases, yes, these humans themselves were raped in their own childhood by those who deceived them. So now they cause harm and bring upon harm to others to make up for that pain that they've never healed within them. Sexuality is something that should be certainly looked at as a proudness, a proud to be engaging in sexuality, exploring your sexuality, whatever your preference is. Never be shy of who you are, never be shy of your sexuality. And of course, releasing your judgments of each other will be very useful, very helpful on your own path to spirituality and releasing the blockages and resistances preventing you from involvement. Release the judgments and you will clear up many paths and create your own bridge to strongest levels of psychic networks and third eye usage. This is all we'll say. Welcome back, friends. Welcome. I hope you've enjoyed this transmission in relation to human sexuality. For more information on my services, including courses on how to channel and different topics and concepts that have to do with soul evolution, including how to order your own book on KALASK, which I will be releasing in approximately end of the Q1 of 2025, please take a look at my website at www.kalask.ca. And serious inquiries can be always sent to info@kalask.ca. Otherwise, thank you for being here. I greet you all in strength and honor. Good night.